All right, so here we are down on the other end of the CNC, a couple feet away. And what I've got down here is it's pencil jig. There's nothing there. It's just a little line cut into the spoil board for registration. So it's a registration mark for me. And what I've got here is I've got it labeled. This is RASK, but I've got a top line. That's a reference line. This is 1 inch from the top of the headstock. So on this one, we've got this little line right here that goes, it's probably in 1/16 of an inch from the top of the wood. So I can't measure straight from that. So I've got to measure from there. And so I've got a 1 inch from there. I'm going to put this. Down here, I've got an intersection line where the y-axis and z-axis will zero. What that gives me is, as I line this up, center, center, 1 inch off, that will be the right spot every time for a center zero to get that female lined up perfectly every time. So this took a lot of work to get it here because I had to figure out where that zero would be in relation to the headstock in the first place and then carve this. It's nice when you can do solid jigs or fixtures and just slide it right up against a positive stop. But if you're cutting based on a center location of something that the shape is never quite exactly the same, what Robert does is he does a rough cut on these before he sends them to me and gives me that line. So I don't have that solid square, that solid shape. Even if I cut out the shape of a headstock, I couldn't just drop this in because everyone's a little bit different with that rough cut. It's not until later when he gets it on the headstock where he does the finish work. All right, so I got to get my 1 inch. Got to get my top line. My vertical. So I've got my distance, got my vertical, got my bottom. Make sure we get a nice good fit on that tape. That's a big chunk of tape, so we should be good. Let's go get the program set. Okay, I've got the code loaded. One thing I need to do before I start cutting is set my Z0. One thing I really like about legacy machines is how easy it is to zero the Z-axis. Take this Smart Tool setup pad, set that where you're going to set that on top of your surface or your Z0. Go Smart Tool Setup. Say yes, it's a. Wait, I gotta go see. I can't see it from there. Okay, first it asks, is the spindle position over the tool pad? Yes, it is. Then it's going to ask you if I'm going to use multiple tools. I am not. This is a single one. As soon as I hit no, it's going to go down. Make sure that's right under there. So what it's going to do is it's going to go down and do the Smart Tool touch off. So I used to take a piece of paper and stick that under and have to get the perfect thing down. Then I got myself a Maverick, and tool setup's been a lot easier than that. So now it's just a matter of saying, I gotta start cycle. It's gonna run over, ask for a tool change because there is an M6 on there, even though I told it I'm only using one tool, so I don't have to change the tool. But it's gonna run down and back. And then once I've got change tool, it'll send it back. So now we've got this. I'm going to drive that up and out. A little bit of fuzz on top of that, so I'm going to take a little bit of fine grained sandpaper, knock the tops down. Now I found it's not worth going through and doing a full clean out because the letters are so small. So I do leave, trying to do this from where I'm at. I do have the centers that all I got to do, because they're such small pieces, there's no strength in them. So are the ones I want to keep. So you got to be careful of which ones you're getting. But I've got these little pieces that they'll just break out. And then if necessary, there may need to clean up the bottom just a little tiny bit. If anybody ever told you that there was no extra work in CNC, just let the machine do it all, well, they were pulling your leg. Because beyond just designing, there is so much. From setup to programming to setup. To clean up. To just getting the tape off what you're just cutting. Got a little bit of fuzzy right there on the R. If you can see right there, a little tiny bit of fuzz. I could just take that off just by going across the top. I believe that got those. I'm just getting it started because if I get it in there at all, it'll never come back out, and he needs to put some glue under it before he goes down. A little bit of gum, I don't know if you can see in there, a little bit of gum right in there from the tape, double-sided tape that was holding it down. And that'll have to come off, or I'd probably secure it in there on its own. But just make sure that everything's going to line up. No, it's not in there yet. If I push that all the way in there, that's permanent. As you can see, there in the bottom of the K, down in the S. I've got to do a little bit of cleanup in there. You know what? These 1/2 millimeter bits, I just had a thought. They're not good for anything else because I can't cut with them, but they're small enough, haha, that I can get in and break some wood with them. Whoever said if something doesn't work for your initial purpose you buy it for, it's not going to work for you at all. Not me. So just a little bit of cleanup there. But that's there. Find the ask. That again needs some cleanup. Sad thing is I could just shove it down there and such a tight fit it would clean all that right off. And then he wouldn't be able to glue it. So don't get to do that. So we've got the first one done. Second one, same story, nice and easy. This one is a little bit thinner. The first one was 0.107. This one is only 0.9. I've got a cut depth set to 0.08, sorry. And this is 0.09. I think it's going to make it a little bit too thin. So rather than adjusting my Z0, I'm going to go off the other Z0. So instead of going the full 0.8 into this 0.9, I'm only actually going to go 0.7 into this 0.9. So again, same setup. To get the same results. Not changing my X, Y, or Z0. Get that down, and then it's just a cycle start. It's going to want a tool change. I'm 0.1 higher, so that first pass is just going to get air. 0.01 higher. Alright, so that's done. The whole time I've been sitting here whittling away at the gum up against this. I'd like to hit it with some acetone or something and just get it off, but I have a feeling mother of pearl, or this imitation mother of pearl, is pretty close to a plastic that acetone's not going to be very friendly with. See how that turned out with the different types of wood we are cutting in. With this being book matched and glued up about 100 times, I really don't want to start popping any glue seams. That's one thing about working with such beautiful pieces of art. I couldn't imagine somebody trying to do embellishments on actual, like, old art. I feel so bad if I popped a seam on this one, but there we go. Get it by the tape. Alright, so again, same deal. Yeah, it's a real fine cleanup in here. That little chunk of wood's stronger than the bit. Break the big ones with the chisel. I don't know if you saw that, but that seam right there just split. Son of a gun. Sorry, Robert. Hopefully that's something that can be glued back up. I wasn't even pushing on that part. Just kind of holding it. So I indirectly pushing on it. I wasn't pushing on it with to break a piece of across the seam. I do, however, want to see how that white's going to look. Of course, it's just like the black, the white's going to have more pearl to it once it gets sanded and finished. So it'll have a lot more luster to it. And while it's all fun to be specific about this very type, what I want to bring to your attention is that with these machines, the amount of preciseness you can get, I don't know if you can see how tight that tolerance is between the inlay and the wood. I've only got that thing about halfway in there. But I can't see a gap anywhere there. So I think that other than the fact I snapped it, I think going with a pearl inlay in that headstock, I think that is going to be absolutely beautiful once it's put together and polished up. Can't wait to see it. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. We had a great opportunity to do some amazing inlays. Really great white on the multicolor and black on the brown. Really look forward to seeing how these turn out. And it'd be interesting to see if Robert decides to go with the pine cone epoxy that we got in the blue. Was able to put that together, and it does look like it'll be an inlay that'll be okay to be used. Just have to be extra delicate with it. And I guess we'll find out if that headstock piece can be put together. I'm pretty sure once he glues it up to the headstock, it'll hold strong there. And just laying down, it's not even noticeable that the crack's there, or it split along the seam. It didn't actually crack any wood, so it should be real easy to put back together. I do want to thank the folks over at Legacy Woodworking Machinery. This Maverick 3x5 has been an amazing tool. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing a few videos specifically on the Maverick 3x5, some of the reasons that I absolutely have loved it while I've owned it, and why unfortunately I think I'm going to have to let her go. It's been a great ride, but at least I've been able to enjoy it for this long. So, but we will talk about it. I'm not going to get all sappy and teary-eyed. I'm gonna miss you, girl. But I'd like to thank the folks over at Legacy. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, John. You guys are awesome. Tracy, appreciate the products. You guys are keeping me able to make amazing things out of wood and acrylic also. Thanks to the guys at Precise Bits for amazing bits. And thanks for Robert over at RASK Guitars. It's always a pleasure working with you. I love seeing you put your guitar pictures up there and knowing that I had a little piece of that beautiful music making. So for Custom Creative Carvings, I'm Chris. Thank you. Have a great day.